Okay guys, today we're going to be talking about how to attack and fish a slop bay. Slop bays are very commonly used places to fish in bass fishing. Right here we got one, you know, lots of lily pads, lots of different aquatic vegetation types, just thick stuff, and you know, there's a lot of different ways that you can fish these, but I'm going to talk about some of my favorite ways and some of the most effective ways. There's a lot of different ways that people fish slop bays. Probably the most common one is using like a topwater frog, you know, Spro bronze-eye frog or whatever, KVD sexy frog or snag-proof, whatever. A lot of guys throw frogs in areas like this, and frogs are extremely effective, but the problem is they're just so overused. So what I'm going to be talking about is, you know, a technique that less guys do out there, and it's going to give you a little more advantage out there in the water. And it's just pitching and flipping. It's really not that hard, and it's a very, very effective way to catch big bass. So what I'm going to be pitching and flipping today, I got 2 rods, and so I got the Hack Attack 3/8 ounce flipping jig in blue craw color with a raised chunk on the back, green pumpkin. In my opinion, Hack Attack jig is the best heavy cover jig that you can buy. Just the way that the head design goes through those weeds, and the heavy hook on there, it hooks them every time. Definitely the best jig that I have in my box to get these fish out. And the main thing I'm going to be pitching today is just a soft plastic. And what you want to do is when you're pitching and flipping out here in midsummer, you want to experiment around with weights and baits. So what was working for me really good yesterday, just using 1/2 ounce bullet weight, tungsten, gotta go with tungsten, 1/2 ounce weight, 3/0 super line wide gap hook, and then a Jean LaRue biffle bug. You know, it's a creature bait. Instead of, you want to experiment around with baits that have either a lot of action, like a pack of craw, crazy legs, chigger craw, rage craw. Experiment with those baits that don't have action, just like a sweet beaver, and then experiment with your crazy baits like the biffle bug or like a rage tail, smoking rooster, space monkey. And then, you know, one of those 3 baits is usually going to be the key for catching these fish out here, and you just got to really experiment around. So I found that yesterday pitching and flipping just the plain soft plastic was doing better than the jig. But it's a really good idea to have 2 of them rigged up. Fish on. Oh crap, he's in that thick stuff too. Shit. That's a good flipping fish. That's a good flipping fish right there. See, geez, I pitched it out right into that little corner right there, let it sink. And I noticed my spool was open, so line was just free flowing out. Close the spool, engage the reel. Man, that's a nice fish. That is a nice fish. Yeah, it's a nice fish, man. Good fish. Let's get the release. I mean, that's a good 2-pounder. Flipping. That's what it does. Alright. Good fish. Flipping right out. Right now, that little corner right in there. Doing this. That's what. Now, one thing that you got to make sure that you don't do is once you get a fish in a spot flipping, just because you got one out of it doesn't mean there's none left in that same spot. So flip to that same spot again and keep fishing that spot, because a lot of times you can get 2, maybe even 3 fish out of the same exact spot. Flipping heavy cover try to put your bait right in the heart of the thickest junk. I mean, fish the edges too, but don't be afraid to go right into that thick stuff, because if you got the right equipment, the right line, the right rod, the right reel, the right hook, that's a big deal too, you can get that fish out of there. So don't be afraid to really toss it in there. There we go, got another one. Come on, baby, get out of there. Oh, that's a bigger one, that's a bigger one, that's a bigger one. Come to Papa. Yeah! Yeah! That's a big fish, baby. That's a fish. Woo! That is a big fish right there, guys. Alright. So again, just flipping in these. And like I said last thing I just said was flipping the heavy stuff you can. I flipped way back in there and all that junk. Didn't even feel him hit it. Right as I went up to lift it up. Oh man, that is a solid. Holy cow. I gotta get a better view of this fish. Holy cow. Okay, let's hope that you can actually see this once I get this camera situated. Alright. Here we go. Yeah. That is a chunker right there, man. Holy crap. Jeez, I can't even get... That is a nice pig right there. Oh, that might be my biggest bass of the month. Oh yeah, that's definitely the biggest bass of the month for me. Oh, I gotta get a picture of this fish. Alright, let me just weigh this guy up quick. Brought my scale along. Oh, dude, that is a chunky